Everybody, welcome back to the dumbest bat cave on all of YouTube, Pit Stain Hobbies. We're back here with the Fanhome 66 Batmobile model. We've got stages 15 through 20 today. We've got our lovely little comic book sized manuals. I have enough trouble reading the full sized manuals that come with partworks. The comic book size ones are even smaller. So I downloaded, and they look awesome, and I love that they're comic book size. It's really, I don't know if they did it as like a cost-saving thing or to be comic book sized. I think I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt, say comic book sized, which is cool. So I downloaded the PDFs from my customer portal on fanhome.com, and I'm going to use those. And we're going to put these aside. I'll keep these until the build's done. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them or not. No, just so much stuff. I have so much stuff. If you want stuff, if you want my stuff, go click the link below to Amazon, and while you're there, before you get to that, you're going to see those Fanhome links. Just click them. Come on. You know, how bad could it be? You click the link, you look at some pictures of this giant Batmobile, and then you just, you go out and have a picnic with your wife. Or you possibly make a financial decision and order one, which would be awesome. It's a great model. We've got our first, big mamma jamma chassis part here. So, that being said, okay, the shilling is over. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, it helps, the whole thing, subscribe, oh God, it's so annoying having to say that all the time. There we go. Oh, look at what we got. Okay, so we throw the bag in the garbage, and then pop this out. Oh, man, okay. And we've got some plastic turtle death there. And here we go. We got our little tube, and we do have our 22 gauge craft wire out to put in said tube. Here we go. This packaging is so weird sometimes. Yeah, this right in the garbage. There we go. If you don't have a screwdriver, obviously don't throw it out. It's okay. I just find the metal's a little soft on the freebie screwdrivers, and it can cam out the screws and strip the screws. So, I like to use my little German VH screwdrivers. Go to the Amazon below. It's in my tools and equipment. If you like the Veta screwdrivers, and the W's or V's in Germany, those are fantastic screwdrivers as well. Can't go wrong. This is a beautiful little part. Got our little spring and or shock pockets right there. And this is all metal, and it's a nice matte finish on it. It looks mighty nice. Let's see what we're doing here. We're just gonna plug this tube into the into the fuel filter on the engine. So let me go get the engine. I'll be right back. Okay, so I measured out the hose, and it was about 56.5 centimeters. And so we're just cutting a piece of that tube to be just a wee bit shorter, and then we're just gonna shove it on to the nipple on the fuel filter. There we go. And then we're gonna pull it right back off. And then I'm gonna throw a little crazy glue on this sucker. Okay, because these little tubes, some of them are a very tight fit, and some of them are not as much of a tight fit. And I would recommend putting a wee bit of CA glue on there. So that's on there now. We're just going to leave that alone. And preparing the front chassis, we got to take off this little shipping bar. If I knew better further down the run, I may say leave it on, but who knows? So this is just to protect the sucker from warping while it's in transit. You don't need to keep the screws. Those can go bye-bye. Okay, and I'll just put that aside for now. And that's that's it. So that's all she wrote for stage 15. Let's go and stage 16. Let's see what we got here. We got some of these bits. Oh my God, you gotta scroll so far down. I prefer when they put the editorial content after the instructions on building the parts. With the Batman, you got to scroll through a lot of PDF before you get to the step-by-step section of it. Not a big deal. Just one of those little OCD things, I guess, for me. Is every other part work, for the most part, I think, all of the doobly-doo was after the instructions. So I'll pop this out of here. And a couple bags of screws, EM and GM. And we've got, well, it looks like another sacrificial tool. Let's see, we got, solid piece of metal there. Some frame components. Another solid piece of metal there. And another piece of metal here. I think they call these tweezers. Bye-bye. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we have tweezers. All sorts of tweezers. I get a big set of these on Amazon. These things are really cheap, and you get a whole bunch of them. They're not the world's best tweezers, but they're better than what you get in the kit. Let's see. So we just got to put this. We got to put this cross member onto here, like so, and get one GM screw into that hole right there. So let me knock that out, and I will be right back. Alrighty. Oh, we're going to take this piece we just screwed together and put it right onto the back of the chassis there. And 2 EM screws right there and right there. And just give me a sec. Alrighty, so those 2 screws are in the frame there. Come on, focus, you. There we are. Oh, what's dinging? What's bonging? I don't know. But there we are. Very nice. So now we're going to break out stage 17. There we go. Not a lot of steps on these previous stages here, but you know, pretty beefy parts. So that's nice. More metal, more screws. And we got a weird one. Let's see. AHM. Okay. And AM. AHM. Oh, great. Once I get into the 3-letter acronyms, you're worried how many different screws will be in the kit. But you get one of those little bead organizers, which I don't even have mine sitting here on the workbench. I'll have to go grab that in a sec. And we have a, looks like a lower control arm. Wow. That's a big control arm. Beefy. And, heavy, solid metal cross-member tube of some form here. Focus. Thank you. Much appreciated. And we got a little plastic brackety thing. So that's it. 3 little parts there. And let's see. We're going to... So we're going to flip this over with the L side. Let's see about this. There you go. Okay. With the letter L facing down, we're going to take this bracket, plop it right onto those 2 holes, and 2 AM screws are going to hold that in. Those 2 little holes. So let me just throw those in there real quick, and 1 sec. Okay, so that is screwed onto there, and now what they want us to do is take these AHM screws, which are extremely long, and to pre-thread them into these 2 holes here and here, and then take them out to make this easier. And I can tell you from putting them in the first time, they were a little, those holes did need a pre-threading. Go! Oh, there goes my fingers. And try not to stab yourself on camera. YouTube doesn't like seeing that red bodily fluid. We'll just get this screwed in here. And we want it snug, but still movable. So this is looking crazy beefy, this suspension part. That is... Yeah, I mean, there was some models in the past from some other companies, and, you know, they used a lot of plastic in the suspension, and things would break, and people would be upset. So that was 17, so we're going to go to 18. We're just kind of coasting on through this pack of parts here today, but it's nice. Let's slice open 18 without slicing open our fingers. Oh, there we go. Whatever. Close enough. Sometimes just brute force attacks work better. And we got some more screws. And there's this plastic doodad. And, oh, come on. There we go. Let me scroll down through the instructions. There we go. And, oh, easy, okay. So we've got the other lower control arm here. Oh, right there. Duh. Keep forgetting I'm not on the top camera. And we got another bracket, just like the other one, so we got to screw that on there the same way. And we got a different piece of solid metal cross member. Yeah, nice, beefy. Yeah, this thing's gonna weigh a lot. So we're gonna get this one screwed on just like that, and I will be right back. And we're back. So we pre-threaded the AHM very long screws into this part as well, and now we're gonna take this other control arm, put it in there, and screw it in the same way. And then we're going to end up screwing this thing in. I'll show you that, though, in a sec. One sec. All right, so these are now attached, and we got to take this cross member like this. Other handy, and there we go. And we're going to get these screwed in to those two posts right there with the long AHM screws. So, movie magic, one sec. Okay, and they're both in. Nice. Not too hard. Let's see what we're doing now. Ooh, we're gonna marry this subframe to the chassis. So we got the chassis upside down here. We're gonna take the curvy bar with the curve facing down, and we're gonna, nope, dum. There we go. Let's fold these little arms down, and then get them underneath here. And then then we've got our cross members in. So you want it to be like this. Okay, so just like that. And then we need 4 CM screws on camera, Ian. Focus right there. 4 CM screws in those holes. Uno momentito, por favor. Okay, so I was going to put in this last screw right here, and it's not really lined up with the hole. So you just got to give the frame a little bit of a squeeze. It might be because I really fully tightened all the other ones first. And there we go. So just a tiny squeeze if you need to. If you find the screws missing the hole by a bit. But there we go. Cross members in. That's looking cool. And this is also probably for the motor mounts here. Which is nice. Jeez, they built this thing solid. Concept car, my left foot. And now we're going to take the engine with our monstrously long fuel hose, and zoom out a little bit here. And we want to just kind of get the fuel line. Come on. I'm just going to get the fuel line just out and under everything. And so you got your little motor mounts on both sides. So those are going to slot into the 2 holes right here. Let me change views. You might be able to see a little better. The holes are right here. And we're going to just drop her down onto those 2 holes. And then we got to put AM screws in right there and there to hold the motor in place. Do not rest this thing upside down on the motor. So it's going to be a little bit of a juggling act here, but just give me a second. I'll have those AM screws in there, and then I think we got to put one in the transmission. Yeah, and then the output shaft of the transmission is going to be right there, and we're going to put a CM screw in from the bottom on there. So just give me a few minutes for me. A second for you. One sec. All right, well, those 3 screws are in. Now, one thing you want to be real careful of is the starter motor here. It can get caught on the, it's just sort of in there. It'll get caught on this if you're not careful. So you got to make sure you're dropping the motor straight down. Make sure you clear that cross member. I actually got mine snagged, and now it's a little wibbly wobbly in there. So whatever, it'll be fine. Only only me and all of you will know that my starter motor got a little bent because I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, be very careful right there. All right, and on that note, that's it for that stage. So that was, I think, 18. So let's get the instructions for 19 opened up here and get out the parts and get to actual instructions. Scrolling. There we go. Oh, there we go. Looks like we got a stabilizer bar. So let's get into this here. Oh, this is gonna be one heavy car. This whole chassis so far is 100% metal. That's it. There's, but most of the chassis are metal, I guess. But yeah. Okay. Looks like we have, so apparently this is fully boxed frame rail in certain sections. So it looks like we have frame rail cover plates there. Those are plastic. And we got our little stabilizer. Come on, son of a stabilizer bar. That's plastic. And we've got, look, some like end links and mounts, it looks like. So this should be a little bit more work than the last stages. Yeah, and we're just going to put these cover plates on. So let's start getting these figured out. Right and left. Right. So is that? Nope. Is that? Yes. So that one snaps in there. And that's a left. That probably snaps in right there. There we go. There we go. That fits in place nicely. And this one looks like, oh, that's the right side. They have R's and L's on the bottom of them, if you bothered to read. I don't. Reading's overrated for me. And that one is going to go right there. And we're going to get 4 AM screws on each of those holes. So let's, so 8 AM screws total have to go in. So let me get those screwed in. I'll be right back. All right, so we're getting that last screw in here. And all done. Oh, keep going. You want to get, there you go. Nice and tight. So those look good. Frame rails are all covered up on top now and solid. Good chassis rigidity right there. Really design this thing to be like a tank. So now what we got to do is, there we go. We're going to take our little end links here. And let's grab one of these here. Okay, so we got this end link, and it's got a little hole in the bottom. And that is going to go right here. Should I change camera views and get a better view on this maybe? We could do that. There we go. Okay. So that is going to go right here. And it's going to... So we're going to place that there, and then we're going to take a KP screw. There we go. And in from the bottom into that hole right there. Okay? So give me a sec. I'm going to do the same thing on both sides. Alrighty. So those little guys are screwed in on both sides. Now we got to kind of like hover this thing above our work surface. And what we want to do is we're going to snake this stabilizer bar under the control arm, behind the radiator fan, behind the radiator fan, but in front of the main pulleys. And get that, there we go. Just like that. Then we're going to clip it on to these right here. All right. So you can see how it is, okay? It's between the frame rail and the control arm. There's this little divot here, and they snap right onto there nice and easy. And then we're going to take our little brackets, and one will go here with a couple of AM screws, and then same thing on the other side, couple AM screws. So let me carefully put this back down, and I'll get those screwed in real quick and be right back. Okay, so our brackets are screwed down right there and there. And look at that. That's how you know a stabilizer bar is connected and working properly, when one arm moves with the other. It's just, if you don't know how a stabilizer bar works, basically it ties the two suspension arms together. So when the car wants to body roll, this bar, resists that action and, counteracts on the other suspension arm to try to keep the suspension as level as possible. The stiffer you make this, the less the car will lean over to the side in turns. But if you make it too stiff, it can actually really hurt traction. So the Batmobile had all the traction. So clearly they got it just perfect. Movie magic. And that's it for stage 19. There's your lesson in automotive engineering from the biggest dummy on the internet. There we go. I am a little bit of a car suspension nerd. If you watch some of my other builds, I got a little worked up over one rear suspension stabilizer contraption on another car. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I like the realism, honestly, because I am a car guy. So I really do enjoy the amount of realism in the suspension design. I mean, honestly, a toy car, like you get an 18th scale diecast model, it might have some of that detail depending on how many hundreds of dollars that cost. But if you get a cheaper one, it's just a plastic, flat piece of plastic, a couple, pegs sticking out and they snap on the wheels. There's often very little detail underneath the car. These, they put all the detail. All the suspension details are there, and they're all pretty darn accurate, which I appreciate as a car guy. I like to, I would tinker with my vehicle back in the day. I've been known to injure myself with weld spatter will melt right through the top of a running sneaker. Ask me how I know. We got some more parts here in stage 20. Looks like we got possibly an upper control arm, the spring, possibly a steering knuckle here. Let's just get into this. Yeah, shock absorber, coil spring shaft, suspension arm, steering spindle arm, lower arm ball, upper arm ball. Okay, there we go. So there we are. There's our parts. And let's see what we're supposed to do first with these. Okay, we're going to take the spindle and the arm balls, as they call them. Jeez. Which cursed you? Just for that, I'm going to give you a pair of arm balls. Let's see here. So 20H and 20G are fairly similar looking parts, but one has a longer shaft and it's a little beefier. Which is the skinny one? I think the skinny one is 20H. Let's take a look. Yeah, 20H has the shorter one. I'm just looking at the pictures like everybody else could. So we're going to take this arm in this orientation, and we're going to put 20H on here on the top, and we're going to put 20G here on the bottom. It's a snug fit right there. I tell you, this is what happens with the paint and the powder coat. Depending on how things are, is they could be a little hard to fit on there. So in a scenario like this, what I like to do is break out my set of needle files. These happen to be Tekton, but they're just some generic Chinese files with a Tekton name, because Tekton, I don't think Tekton actually makes those. That's like a legit tool company, and these are not. These don't scream legit tool company, and I'm just gonna file a tiny bit of clearance on the inside, just a little bit. Okay, a little bit there. I think it's just a little bit of like the powder coating. Yeah, now it fits right on. And you want these to move, so like the top one's okay, but the bottom one was a little tight. So just file away at the inside, just a little tiny bit. And now we need some of these. Let's see, what do we got? WM screws. I'm going to put a WM screw in from the front on each of these. Don't forget to lube your screw. This looks like one of those spots. Whoops. This looks like one of those spots where the lube may come in handy. Be right back. Okay, well, these are in. You want to tighten them just enough. You might want to back them off a quarter turn. Just make sure you can move those. You know, you could swing them around and they still rotate. Now we're going to take this, which is basically the top of the shock or strut mount, with the hole facing up in the middle there. I'm going to take this piece. It goes on the back. And then you got these two screw holes here and here. You're going to put a CM screw in each one of those. And give me a sec. Okay, now that we've got that screwed together, all right, we're going to take this little upper control arm. It's going to go on the side here, and we're going to get an EM screw in both sides here to hold that on there. And again, tighten it until it still moves fairly freely. It doesn't need to be floppy, but it should, you know, it should move. Okay, so give me a sec here. This is what you should end up with, is a movable control arm. Okay, on that mount. And let's see what we're doing here. We're going to get the shock absorber. Interesting. Okay. So we're going to take the little spring here. It's going to go on this side. Take the spring and this little metal shock absorber rod doohickey. We've got some AIM screws. They're spelling words out. They can put so many letters on these screw bags now. Oh dear. And knock over our crazy glue, because that's perfect. That's what we want to do. And we're going to tuck this little spring up into the pocket here. Okay. And we got to get it centered in there. So let's put this through here. We want to make sure that it will, yes, go through that hole on the top. So now what we've got to do is put 2 AM screws into this mount right here. Don't forget your lube. One sec, please. All right, well, those 2 are screwed in the bottom, and I forgot, you're supposed to put the little AIM screw in the top shaft first, but if you accidentally put those other ones in the bottom first, it is no big deal. You come right back and get that in there. Honestly, I would do the bottom first, because if you're trying to screw in this AIM screw, the shaft's going to want to like spin around at the bottom, and you're going to have to like hold it with something and pliers and maybe gouge it out. I don't know, but there's that in the bottom. Yeah, you can see how that thing would like probably want to spin around on you. So I would say put these in first on the bottom, and then put in the AIM on the top. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And now they want us to screw this knuckle on to the lower control arm. So with the engine this way, let's follow the instructions here just so I can follow the pictures better. We're going to have the chassis facing this way and the swing arm facing backwards with this hole facing upwards when we put this on here like that. And we're going to get an AIM screw in the bottom here, and I'll be back in a sec. Little juggling. I'm a complete idiot. I was working on the wrong side. This is the side that we have the spring and the shock in, so this is where this is going to go in this orientation. Okay, so it's going to go right in there. Come on, get in there. Like that. And then we're going to get our AIM screw in there. What a absolute imbecile I am. But I make mistakes. Please don't follow them. That's what we want. There we go. And if it won't steer, just loosen that screw like a half a turn, or until it actually starts steering. There we go. And that'll work its way. That's all that powder coat too. It's a little snug in its post there because that screw is not tightened down. So I'm just going to go back and tighten it back down because it doesn't really want to steer very smoothly. We could go put a little lube on that and see if that helps. Because honestly, if there's that much resistance and you try to actually steer the wheels, you're going to break something. something is not going to be happy. So let's just do this. Let's take that screw back out. And yeah, she's really snug in that hole. And you could already see paint is starting to wear off of that. I think I could just gently rest that there. Back to the files. So I'm going to rotate this out this way so I don't scratch anything. But I'm going to, like, just file off some of this powder coat. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Just to get the paint off of that stud. All right, and we're gonna dip her in some oil, and we're gonna shove her back in the hole. Now it moved. Now that moves nice. There we go. So yeah, this is a common thing with basically every partwork kit, is they use AutoCAD to design all the parts to a very specific size and a tolerance. Look at that, nice and smooth now. And they design all the parts, and they give a little bit of a leeway, expecting, you know, paint and powder coat to be applied, but it's not always enough. Most of the time, it's fine, but sometimes the factory just is, the powder coat is just a little thicker than anticipated in the designing phase, and that's what happens. So now we got to take this upper shock mount and upper controller mount and put that right on there. Get a couple of CM screws in here. So yeah, sometimes some filing will be required. So those studs, we'll see how the bottom one is, and if it's also very snug, then I may file that one. Oh, I will file that one as well. This is what I try to cover, like putting in screws. No one cares. If you want to watch screws go in, there's other channels for watching every screw go in. I'm trying to cover like the gotchas and the tricky parts. You know, go back and watch my my crankshaft pulley video, the last episode. I actually ended up, you know, filing that out because it was so snug, and some people broke their pulleys. So let's see how this fits in here. And see, the top one is fine. Just that bottom one needed the filing. So we're probably going to take another AIM screw here. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, we're going to take another AIM screw in the top of this knuckle. We're going to dip it in a little oil over here. And we're going to put that one in there. We're going to tighten it down all the way, and then just back it off a quarter turn. And she moves nice and smoothly. And, well, everybody, that's it. Okay, so that was the end of stage 20. That's the end of that shipment of Batmobile parts. I'm really enjoying this model. It's a lot of metal. It's very beefy. It's very cool. Yeah, this is nice. And this is really the only plastic here is the stabilizer bar and its mounts, but they're not load bearing. So, you know, that's and these springs as usual. Oh, jeez, yeah. Well, because the springs have to be super stiff, because when the model's done, it weighs a friggin' ton. But some models, they'll have plastic in places where a wheel bolts on. That is not a good idea. It doesn't end well. So this should be a pretty robust piece once it's done. But yeah, either way, thank you for watching. And if you have any comments or suggestions or insults, comments below. There's an email address down there. You can get stickers, like, subscribe, do all the stuff in the doobly-doo. Click the links to Fanhome and the Amazon page. Just buy me a coffee link. I don't know. We're just like, help me, I'm going poor from all the part works. Yes. But at least, hopefully, I provide a little bit of entertainment and maybe some informational knowledge on things like filing off some of that powder coat in a couple areas to make sure your steering knuckles work nice and smoothly. That being said, adios, everybody. See you next time.